Hi everyone, hope you all are good. We are here for grade 5 math. So you can find all the lessons on aplusstudents.com. You have to log in there using your email address and password is provided by the administrator. Scroll down to grade 5 and then click on view all lessons. So there you can find a list of the chapters. There you can find list of the chapters. We're going to start with the chapter number 30. The lessons we're going to cover from the chapter are greatest common factor, least common multiple and divisibility rules, word problems. So let's just start with the first lesson. Okay, here I'm on the chapter number 3, grade 5 math. So we're working on the chapter number 3. Let's just start with the lesson, that is greatest common factor. Let's just start with the lesson. What is the greatest common factor of 6 and 10? So you have to find down the greatest common factor. So what you have to do, if you need to find a GCF of 6 and 10, you have to list the factors of each number, right? Then you have to find the largest number that appears in the both list. So you can see here is the factors of 6. Factors are the numbers that when multiplied make 6, right? You can see 6 times 1 is 6, so 6 and 1 is factor of 6, right? Then 3 times 2 and 6, so 3 and 2 both are the factors of 6. Same is the case for 10. 10 times 1 is 10. 10 and 1 both are the factors of 10, right? And 2 times 5 makes 10, so 2 and 5 are the factors of 10. So you have to look for the greatest number, right? The greatest number is 2. So that means the GCF of 6 and 10 is 2, right? The next example is what is the greatest common factor of 6 and 9? So you have to write down the factors of 6 and 9. So here is the factors of 6. Factors are the numbers that when multiplied make 6. 6 times 1 is 6 and 3 times 2 is 6. Then you have factors of 9. 9 times 1 is 9 and 3, they are the factors of 9. So you can see the greatest common number is 3. That means the GCF of 6 and 9 is 3, right? What is the greatest common factor of 8 and 6? So you have to write down the factors of 8 and 6. The factors of 8 are 1, 1, 2, 4, and 8. And same way the factors of 6 are 1, 2, 3, and 6. So 2 is the greatest number, greatest common factor of 8 and 6, right? Let's just start with the practice questions. Okay, what is the greatest common factor of 6 and 4? So how do you find the GCF of 6 and 4? You have to list the factors of both the numbers, right? GCF of 6 and 8, 6 and 4, 6 and 4. Okay, let's just write down the factors of 6. Factors are the numbers that multiply, that when you multiply make 6, right? 6 times 1 is 6 and 3 times 2 is 6, right? You can write them in the form of pair, that would be very easy. 6 and 1 makes 6. So here is 6 and 1. Same way you have to write down the factors of 4. 4 times 1 is 4 and 2 times 2 is 4, right? So which is the greatest common number? You can see for both the numbers you have 1 and you have 2 also, right? You have to find the greatest common number. So the GCF, the greatest common number is 2. The basic thing is you have more than one common number between some numbers, right? So you have to look for the greatest one. Like U1 and 2 are common, but 2 is the greatest common factor. So 2 is the GCF, right? So the correct option is 2. Okay, what is the GCF of 6 and 9? So GCF of 6 and 9. Okay, let's just write down the factors of 6. So factors of 6 are 6 times 1 is 6 and 2 times 3 makes 6, right? You have to write down the factors of 9. So the factors of 9 are 9 times 1 is 9 and 3 times 3 is 9. So you can see the greatest number that is common is 3. So the GCF is 3, right? So the GCF is 3. Okay, the next one is what is the GCF of 6 and 10? GCF of 6 and 10. So let's just write down the factors of 6. They are 6 times 1 is 6 and 2 times 3 is 6, right? You have same way you have to write down the factors of 10. So they are 10 times 1 is 10 and 2 times 5 is 10. So which is the GCF? The greatest number that is common between both the numbers is 2. So the GCF is 2, right? So the correct option is 2. Okay, the next one is what is the greatest common factor of 10 and 8? So you have given the options, right? You can also select if you have given the options. Let me just tell you the trick. You just look at the options. You have 2 and 5, right? 2 is the only number that can divide both 10 and 8, right? 2 times 5 is 10 and 2 times 4 is 8. 5 cannot divide both the numbers. So if you are given the options, the correct option is the one that divide both the numbers, completely divide both the numbers. So here the GCF of 10 and 8 is 2, right? The correct option is 2. What is the greatest common factor of 8 and 6? Which is the correct option? 2 and 5. No one is answering. Why? They are not as much hard. So if you already know the answers, you can please write down the answers in the chat box. What is the GCF of 8 and 6? GCF of 8 and 6 is you have two options given 2 and 5. So 2 is the only number that can divide both 8 and 6, right? So that means that GCF of 8 and 6 is 2. The correct option is 2. What is the greatest factor of 6 and 9? So, which is the correct option? Which is the correct option? You have two options given. They are 3 and 5. So 3 is the only number that can divide both 6 and 9, right? So the correct option is 3. This is the trick because when you have the multiple choice questions, you have a very short time. You don't have that much time to solve each and every question. So that's why when we are working on a lesson, uh, I'm trying my best to tell you the tricks if you are working on the when you're working on the multiple choice questions. So how do you find the answer easily? Which what is the greatest common number factor of 4 and 6? So which is the number that can divide both 4 and 6? 2 is the number that can divide both 4 and 6, right? So the greatest common factor is 2. The correct option is 2. What is the GCF of 10 and 4? So which is the correct option? Which is the correct option? What is the GCF of 10 and 4? So you have given two of the options, 2 and 10, right? So you have to look. The correct option is the one that can divide both the numbers 2 and both the numbers 10 and 4, right? So 2 is the only number that can divide both 10 and 4. So that means the GCF of 10 and 4 is 2. The correct option is 2. Okay, we are done with the lesson. Let's just start with the next lesson. Okay, let's just start with the next lesson. The next lesson is least common multiple. So we just did greatest common, right? So you have to look for the least common multiple now, right? That means the smallest common multiple. Let's just start with the lesson. What is the least common multiple of 12 and 15, right? So we just did greatest common factor. Now we're going to start least common multiples, right? You have to write down the multiples now. So just a small difference between a factors and multiples are different, right? Do not confuse between the words. Do not confuse between these two words, factors and multiples. I will explain the difference between the multiple and the factors. Multiple is a number that can be divided by another number a certain number of times without a remainder, right? A factor is one of two or more number that divides a given number without a remainder. So, for example, if you have, let me just explain you the difference between the factors and multiples. Just look at the example carefully. Just listen to me carefully. Okay. So, you have 5 times 4 equals 12, right? 5 and 4 are factors of 20, right? And 20 is the multiple of 4 and multiple of 5, because you can divide 20 by both 4 and 5, right? So 5 and 4 are the factors of 20, and 20 is the multiple of 4 and 5. When you multiply 4 and 5, you get 20, right? So let's just start with the examples. You have to write down the multiples. Okay, let's just start with the first example. Okay, list the multiples of each number, find the lowest number that appears in both list. So you have to write down the multiples of 12, right? So just multiply. The multiples of 12 are 12 times 1 is 12, 12 times 2 is 24, 12 times 3 is 36. They are the multiples, right? Same way you have to write down the multiples of 3. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. You have to look for the smallest. Least means smallest number that is the common. So the smallest common number is 12, right? Okay, the next example is, what is the least common multiple of 11 and 3? So list the multiples of 3 and 11. So multiples of 11 are 11, 22, 33, 44, and 55, right? And if multiples of 3 are 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. So you have the smallest common number, the least common number is 33, right? Okay, the next example is, what is the least common multiple of 4 and 2? You have to write down the multiples of 4 and 2. So the multiples of 4 are 4, 8, 12, 20, 16, and 20. And the multiples of 4 are 2, 4, 6, 8, and 12. That means the least common multiple of 4 and 2 is 4. Let's just start with the practice questions. What is the least common multiple of 9 and 8? Let's just make a list of the multiples of 9 and 8, then we'll see. Multiples of 9 and multiples of 8. Okay, 9 times 1 is 9, 2 is 18, 3 is 27, 9 times 4 is 36, 9 times 5 is 45, 9 times 6 is 54, 9 times 7 is 63, 9 times 8 is 72, and 9 times 10 is 90. Same way you have to write down the multiples of 8. 8 times 1 is 8, 8 times 2 is 16, 8 times 3 is 24, 8 times 4 is 32, 8 times 5 is 40, 8 times 6 is 48, 8 times 7 is 56, 8 times 8 is 64, 8 times 9 is 72, and 8 times 10 is 80. So just look for the common number. Only common number is 72, right? That means the least common multiple here is 72. So the correct option is 72. Okay, what is the least common multiple of 6 and 8? So you have to write down the least common multiple of 6 and 8. So let's just make a list of the multiples of 6 and 8, right? 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48, 54 and 60. 8 times 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, 64, 72 and 80, right? So just look for a common number. The common number is, here it is, 48. The least common multiple of both the numbers is 48, right? No, 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 no. You have another one. 24 is the least one. That is common, right? That means the LCM is 24, right? So the correct option is 24. Okay, let me just tell you a trick to find from the options. Like, what is the least common multiple of 6 and 7? So you are given two of the options, 24 and 42, right? 24 is divisible by 6, but it is not divisible by 7. So 24 is not the least common multiple. 42, you have 6 times 7 is 42. You have 42 in both the tables. 6 times 7 is 42 and 7 times 6 is 42, right? That means 42 is the least common multiple. If option is divisible by both the numbers, right? Now you have to look for the option that is divisible by both the numbers. So 42 is divisible by both 6 and 7. That means 42 is the multiple of 6 and 7, right? What is the least common multiple of 4 and 7? So you are given two of the options, 82 and 28. Let's see which is the number that is divisible by both 4 and 7. 20, 82. 82 is not divisible by 4 or either 7, right? But 28 is divisible by 4 and by 7 also. 4 times 7 is 28 and 7 times 4 is 28. So they both can be divisible on by 28. So 4 and 7 is 28. So the correct option is the second one is the correct option. What is the least common multiple of 2 and 11? So just look at the options here. You have two options, 55 and 22. So which option is the correct one? 55 is not divisible by 2, right? But it is divisible by 11. So that is not the correct option. You have to look for the option that is divisible by both the numbers. 22 is divisible by 2 and 22 is divisible by 11. That means the least common multiple is 22. Okay, the next one is the correct option is 22. Okay, the next one is, what is the least common multiple of 9 and 6? So you have to find the number that is the multiple of both 9 and 6. So which is the correct option? You have 71 and 18. So which option is the correct one? 71. 9 is not divisible by 71, right? Or either 6 is not divisible by 71, but 18 is the number. Both the numbers 9 and 6, 18 is divisible by both the numbers 9 and 6, right? 6 times 3 is 18 and 9 times 2 is 18, so that means the correct option is 18. What is the least common multiple of 4 and 11? Yes, hi. Which is the least common multiple of 4 and 11? Let's just write down the multiples of both 4 and 11, right? No, 54 is not the correct option. It is 44. Let me explain how. 54 is not divisible by 11. 4 times 1 is 4, 2 is 8, 3 is 12. 4 times 4 is 20, 4 times 1, 2, 3, 4 times 3, 4 times 4 is 16, 4 times 5 is 20, 4 times 6 is 24, 4 times 7 is 28, 4 times 8 is 32, 4 times 9 is 36, 4 times 10 is 40, 4 times 11 is 44, and 4 times 12 is 48. 11 times 1 is 11, 11 times 12, 11 times 2 is 22, 11 times 3 is 33, and 11 times 4 is 44. And you can see here the common number is, the smallest common number is 44, right? So that means the LCM is 44. Also, the trick I have explained is you have to check 54. 54 is divisible. 54 is neither divisible by 4 nor by 11, right? But 44 is the number that can be divisible by both 4 and 11. So the correct option is 44. The second option is the correct option. What is the least common multiple of 5 and 10? So which is the correct option, 22 or 10? Think and then answer. Yes, very good. The correct option is 10. 5 times 2 is 10 and 10 times 1 is 10. So yes, the correct option is 10. Very good. What is the least common multiple of 5 and 3? So which is the correct option? Yes, very good. That is 15. 5 times 3 is 15 and 3 times 5 is 15. So both the 3 and 5 are the multiples of 15. So the correct option is 15. Very good. Okay, what is the least common multiple of 8 and 4? Which is the correct option? You have to look for the least number. 8 is a multiple, but least one. 4 is the least one, right? 4 is divisible by both 4 and 8. You have to look for the least number. So the least number that can be divisible 4 and 2 is 4. So the correct option is 4. Always look for the least number, right? So the correct option is 4. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. Let me just move on to next example. Next lesson. And the next lesson is divisibility rules, word problems. So in the last session, we did the lesson about the divisibility rules from the same chapter, right? So if you need help with the lesson divisibility rules, you can search the lesson we did last week. You can search the channel for the lesson we did. How do you search the channel? Let me just show you. If you need help with any of the lesson, you can find all the lessons on the YouTube. I have already completed all the lessons from A plus earlier. So if you need help with any of the lesson, for example, you need help with divisibility rule, right? So you can see, write down divisibility rules. Then you have to write down the channel name, right? The name of the channel is A plus classes. So just write down the lesson name followed by the channel name. Here is the all the lessons with the name divisibility rule, that is from grade 8. Here is the lesson prime factorization divisibility rules. That's the one I did 8 months ago, right? One of the lesson I did last week somewhere. You can even find the one I did earlier, right? Here is the one I did on grade 7. So all the lessons, you are in grade 5, so you can go for the lesson for grade 5 and you can do here. Okay, so I'm going to start with the word problems divisibility rules. There are 56 graders at Dayan's school. There are the same number of students in each sixth grade class. How many grade classes could there be at Dayan's school? We are given the four of the options 3, 4, 10, and 9. Basically, you have to find the you just need to apply the divisibility rule. You need to see 50 is divisible by which number, right? So you have to start checking by 3, right? So first of all, you have to apply the divisibility rule by 3. The divisibility rule for 3 is you have to sum up the digits. If the sum is divisible by 3, that means the number is divisible by 3. So the digits are 5 and 0. Just add 5 plus 0 makes 5. And 5 is not divisible by 3. That means by rule 50 is not divisible by 3, right? Then you have to check for 4. The divisibility rule for 4 is the divisibility. Look at the number formed by the last two digits, that is 50. And 50 is not divisible by 4. That means the number is not divisible by 4. Then yes, you have to apply the divisibility rule for 10. The divisibility rule for 10 is if you have the ones digit is 0, that means the number is divisible by 10. So 50, you have 0 at the ones place. 50 is divisible by 10. That means yes, it is divisible by 10. So the correct option here is 10, right? Let's just start with the practice questions. Molly is arranging the photographs for her high school yearbook. She need to put the same number of photographs in each row with no photographs left over. If Molly has 663 photographs to arrange, how many photographs should she put in each row? Like the total photographs are 663. On each page, you have to put equal number of photographs. So basically, you have to say 666 is divisible by which number? You have to apply the divisibility rules. Let's just apply the divisibility rule for 9663 and the options are 935 and 2. I think they are 9352. Sorry, the options are 935 and 2. So let's just apply the divisibility rule by 9 first, right? The divisibility rule for 9 is you have to sum up the digits. If the sum is divisible by 9, 15 is divisible by 9, no, that means no, this number is not divisible by 9. So this is the not the correct option, right? Now you have to apply the divisibility rule for 3. Divisibility rule for 3 is you have to find the sum of the digits, that is 15. 15 is divisible by 3. Yes, it is. That means the number 663 is divisible by 3. That means the correct option is 3. Right? It cannot be divisible by 5 because the divisibility rule for 5 is the ones digit must be either 0 or 5. That is the divisibility rule for 5. The divisibility rule for 2 is the ones digit is either 0, 2, 4, 6, and 8. So the correct option is 3. A soda company makes different flavors of soda. Last year, the company produced the same number of bottles of each flavor. If the company produced 6,228 bottles of soda in all year, how many different flavors could the company make? So that is 6,228. The options given are 3, 5, and 10. You have to see which option is the correct one. This is the number that 6,228, right? You have to apply the divisibility rules. So let's start with just look at the options. The options are 3, 5, and 10. 6,228. The divisibility rule for 10 is the ones digit must be 0. The ones digit is not 0, not divisible by 10. The divisibility rule for 5 is ones digit must be 5 or 0. One's digit is not neither 5 nor 0, not divisible by 5. That means it must be divisible by 8. You can check by applying the divisibility rule for 2. For 3, the divisibility rule for 3 is just add up all the digits 10, 11, 12, and 6, 18. 18 is divisible by 3. Yes, 3 times 6 is 18. That means yes, it is divisible by 3. Right? So the correct option is 3. There are 9,490 paper clips in the boxes in the supply cabinet. If each box contains the same number of paper clips, how many boxes could there be? Okay, you have 9,490. You can see you have 0 at the ones position, right? That means it must be divisible by 10. So the correct option is the correct option is 10, right? The correct option is 10. Just make sure you are perfect with the divisibility rules. You must know the divisibility rules for the common numbers, then that would be very easy. That's the one we did on the tutorial, which is the correct option. The correct option is yes, it is 1050 divisible by 10 only. The correct option is 10. Leila wants to arrange 92 roses into vases. How many roses did she put in each vase without having any leftover roses? So, which is the correct option? 92. The options are 9, 3, 4, and 2. The first one is 5. 92 is not divisible by 5, right? Because for the 5, the ones digit must be 0 or 5. That means no, it is not divisible. For 3, just add 9 plus 2. 9 plus 2 makes 11. 11 is not divisible by 3. It is not divisible by 3, right? For the 9, that sum of the digits is 11. 11 is not divisible by 9. So it is also not divisible by 9. It is divisible by 4. You can just see 94 is divisible by 4. Yes. Yes, the two digits are divisible by 4. That means yes, the correct option is 4. So it is 4. A dish company needs to ship an order of 616 glass bowls. The company will put the bowls into several boxes. Each box must contain the same number of bowls. How many boxes could the company use for the order? The correct option is, which is the correct option? 616. 10 and 5 big cross, right? Because if a number is divisible by 10, it must have a 0 at the ones place, so the number doesn't have 0, right? And then for the 5, one's digit must be 5 or 0, so that is the number is not divisible by neither by 10 nor by 5. Also, it is not divisible by 9, so the correct option is then 2. The correct option is 2, 2, 2, not 9. For the 9, the sum of the digits must be divisible by 9. 6 and 6, 12 and 1, 13. Can you divide 13 by 9? No, the correct option is 2. Just keep the divisibility rules for these numbers in your mind, right? We are done with the lesson. You can complete the lesson by yourself later today. So, we're working on grade 5 math. The chapter we're working on is number theory. The lessons we have covered today are greatest common factor, least common multiples, and divisibility rules word problems, right? So please make sure before the next session you can complete all the test questions for the lessons we did today. So if you need more help with the lesson, you can contact any tutor on the Skype. They are available from Monday to Friday, 5 to 9, right? So that's all for today. See you in the next session. Bye, everyone.